Let's throw our hands in the air as we soar through the sky.
Yatta!
We'll catch the sun with your hand in mine, and if we work as a team, everything will be fine.
Yeah!
Oh, it's Cure of the What Now?
Let's henshin and start the show!
Hello, fellow visitors to the Alzora City Aquarium, and welcome to Cure of the What Now, the only show where we know dolphins just ain't shit. I'm your host, Kat, and I am a woman of culture who knows that jellyfish, with their toxins and their poisons, are incredibly fascinating.
Oh, I'm your co-host, Joel, and I want to pet the dolphins, please! What do they feel like? I want them to be my friends!
Come on, man, didn't you hear my intro? Let's just go look at the jellyfish.
No, I'm very excited to touch the dolphins. You can't touch jellyfish.
You're really excited to touch the eggplant, mother flippers. You're really excited for the dolphin sound that they make. Is that what you want?
That's absolutely what I want, yeah.
Yeah.
I've lived for my life for this moment. It was all leading to this.
So, Joel, before we begin, do we have any announcements this week?
Yes, a bit of unfortunate news. So we kind of talked last episode about how life's been a little stressful. You know, we have a new puppy, I have a new job, all sorts of stuff is happening. 2020 and 2021 is still kicking our collective butts. So our Patreon is officially closing for the time being. Maybe if we grow in fame and popularity and people really want to, we can bring it back. But we're just going to kind of cut ourselves a break, and we're no longer going to be rushing to try and make sure that we have an episode ready at the beginning of each month. We have a couple of bonus episodes that we already planned. We've already started reading the material or watching the anime or whatever the case may be. We will still record those, and they will go up on the free feed. I'm making no guarantees, but theoretically, I could take all of the old bonus episodes that haven't been uploaded and also add them as well, now that everyone who was on Patreon was already had early access to them, in some cases as much as like a year of early access, so I think it's fair to kind of release those. We worked pretty hard on a lot of those episodes, and we're excited to share them with you.
Absolutely. Our Madoka Magica episode is very good. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Ones that eventually went to the free feed, or...
Yeah, I just really like that episode, and I want more people to hear it. And also, I want more people to watch Madoka Magica.
Absolutely. Someday I'm going to figure out how to get the cards to work on YouTube. I tried it for one of our earlier episodes, and it just wasn't quite cooperating. But theoretically, check your YouTube video. There might be a link in one of the corners that will take you to that episode. Maybe, Perfect. If I can figure it out.
Those are some beautiful announcements, Joel. Now, I'm looking at our list of possible discussion questions, okay?
And but none of them are Shang-Chi related.
One of them is.
Is it really?
Yeah, one of them on this list is what incredible superpowers would you give each Tropical Club member?
Yes. I originally wrote this on the night that I had like 15 discussion question ideas, and we're slowly getting through all of them, and eventually I'm going to have to come up with another set of like backup questions. But my idea behind saying incredible superpowers is not something like they get like laser vision or whatever. Laser vision's a pretty cool superpower, but I mean like blow your brain, super amazing. Like you could have an entire series of comic books written about this superpower. What amazing, fantastic superpowers would you give each member of the Tropical Club? I'm going to go to my mind palace. I'm going to think about some really cool magic powers because I can't think of any at the moment, actually.
What if Minori could summon a jellyfish-type spirit monster?
That's a stand. That's a JoJo stand.
Fists in a toxin so potent that she can destroy you with one punch.
Okay.
Yes, it is a stand.
It is also the magic spell used by Klaus. No, not Klaus. I don't remember his name, but the magic guy, the healer from Black Clover. Okay, so what if you gave Songo a Zatanna-esque magician's outfit and her superpower was all sorts of magic? You could give her some kind of drawback because, you know, infinite power isn't necessarily interesting on its own. The interesting come from, like, the limitations or times when their powers can't be used really well. So maybe she's D&D style, she has a spell book and she can only pick certain spells or something like that. Or without the spell book, she loses her powers. But I think she would look cute in that top hat.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, there's very few characters who wouldn't.
That's true.
But I agree that she would look especially cute.
I just want to see her kind of like showing off and being a bit more vibrant. You know, she's getting there, but not yet.
I like the idea of Laura being able to infect people with some sort of parasitic mushroom that turns them into clones of Laura, and she's a distributed hive mind.
Okay, I was very confused why you were associating Laura with mushrooms until you got to the part where it was like she's turning other people into her, and it's like, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
She's the queen.
I mean, it's kind of a basic ability that a lot of different like mer people or people of the sea have in different canons. I'm thinking of Mara from Aquaman, but water manipulation would fit her pretty well, you know, that sort of thing. What if Asuka had I'm just taking abilities from other things. First it was Atana, and now it's what if we gave Erza Scarlet's magic armor ability to Asuka, and she was just switching between different weapons at any time.
Looks like Erza Scarlet too, doesn't she?
A little bit, yeah.
I think that's what drew the connection in your mind.
Probably.
What about Asuka can turn into any bird that she touches?
Okay, so question. How does the power differentiate? Like, does it just magically know what a bird is? If she touches a penguin, is she going to turn into a penguin, or are they exempt? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You turn into it's like you touch it, you absorb its DNA goos.
You're
like,
talking about animorphs. Yeah, that's exactly how animorphs work.
Yeah, exactly. But it only works with birds.
Mm.
So she has like a collection of different feathers from different type of birds. Don't tell the Wildlife Association, that's illegal. But she touches them and she can turn into like an owl if she needs to see at night, or fly silently, or she can turn into a parakeet if she wants to screech real loud and poop up some walls, you know?
What if, and this is kind of ripping off Green Lantern a little bit, but what if Manatsu's was that she could imagine something in her mind and conjure it in real life? And like the more complex or bigger it is in terms of like mass or dimensions, the longer it would take for her to summon. But she like scrunches up her face and she puts her fingers on her forehead and she's like, I'm thinking of penguins with chopsticks. And then this like, I'm imagining it's like colored pencils. This like cloud appears above her head and there's a portal into the world of imagination.
I love that. Imagine if it's linked to the amount of energy she has. So the more excited and energetic she is, the stronger the construct is.
She's always summoning creatures that Tropica shine. Of course. Hey, really quick, we're going to have mild spoilers for Shang-Chi. Nothing important like plot turns and stuff, but the movie went in a direction I didn't think it was going to go in, and we are going to reference some of the elements that are introduced once it kind of takes that slight turn. So if you haven't seen it and you're super allergic, remember, timestamps are always in the description.
Back into the regular podcast view.
I think that about covers everyone that I can think of. Also, to go back to Shang-Chi, which we just saw yesterday, I think it would be great because Minori was doing some not kung fu, it was Tai Chi a couple of episodes ago. Give her the rings and her just like jumping off of the rings in the middle of the air and stuff.
She's the only one of the Tropical Club who would be able to appropriately utilize their power and longevity.
Okay.
I could see her being the criminal mastermind of a 1,000-year-old network. You know? But
yeah, absolutely.
Could Manatsu kill her father?
No, absolutely not. Although, to be fair, I think you're mixing things up because you're saying that...
No, I was just separating them. So now I'm talking about Manatsu as a protagonist. If her dad was evil, could she kill her dad?
Well, no, probably not, because it's PreCure.
The RNA dolls, are they the soul suckers from Shang-Chi?
I mean, I guess they technically are. They aren't killing people, but they are absorbing stuff.
PG version of killing people.
Well, all right. Yeah. They serve a higher being and that kind of a thing. So, perfect. I wonder if that technically counts as a spoiler.
Nah. We can put a big, like, spoilers for Shang-Chi if you want. You can edit that into the beginning of the podcast. We had a weird time warp there for a second where we went back and we did some boops.
I temporarily came from another planet, also known as Earth, coincidentally. It was really strange.
I'm going to need you to succinctly summarize the episode of Tropical Rouge we just watched.
All right, so the aquarium in the city has opened up a new dolphin petting exhibit. Manatsu is super excited, and all the girls go to the aquarium. The line is too long, so they go around to other exhibits and that sort of thing. We have a hilarious scene with Laura and a manatee, which we'll come back to. Minori had an excellent moment as well that we'll come back to and discuss in greater detail. Manatsu starts to realize that everyone else around seems to be losing their motivation energy, and they eventually figure out that maybe the motivation draining thing, the RNA dot that they can't detect very easily or they can't find, is hiding out in the tanks with all of the animals. So they decide to come back during the night tour and have Laura go into the tanks and swim around as a mermaid, where they find Dr. Numeri, who has been taking smaller amounts of motivation power so that she wouldn't get caught as quickly. But in the end, it's still just she creates another Yarnada, and then through the power of friendship and dolphins, they save the day. And that has been your succinct summary.
That was a great succinct summary. Good job.
Thank you.
Did you like this episode?
I liked it quite a bit, yes. Mostly for Laura X Manatee. Not X in the fanfic kind of way, but just like bros.
No, I think that you had it right the first time when you very strongly indicated you think Laura has romantic feelings for a manatee.
I don't think that they're going. I don't think they have romantic feelings. I think they're going to perform the fusion dance to reveal Laura's ultimate form.
Chunky face Laura. Absolutely. I liked this episode as well. I'm a big aquarium fan. The aquarium is my happy place. So any episode focusing on, look at all of these sea creatures in the tanks, even if it's a cartoon, I'm still going heckin' feral. I'm like, yes, look at those guys splashing around. Look at them do it. I will say I question the ethics of having a dolphin petting zoo in your aquarium because maybe they enjoy it, but it feels a little exploitative, and aquariums are usually centered around research, whereas somewhere like SeaWorld, which is what I would associate dolphin petting with, is not about research and just takes these wild mammals that are really, really smart and keeps them in tiny boxes and makes people poke at them for money.
Okay, fair enough. Now, this might sound like some kind of like flex because it's like a weird esoteric book. Kind of. But I have been reading Plato's The Republic, and in it, they talk about whether sometimes society has to like tell useful lies to the citizens, which is kind of at the cornerstone of a lot of governmental politics philosophy. But what if they wanted to present the idea of being able to pet dolphins and how cool dolphins are in order to get more people interested in being aquarium directors as their adults? You know, it's kind of like this is the cartoon version, this is the Disney version where the dolphins are like sentient creatures that want to be your friends and that sort of thing.
Okay, is it a small evil for a greater good? Okay, I can see that. I really liked that the villain tried something new in this episode. I feel like I've been wanting that out of PreCure for a while. Like, if you do the same thing every week and every week it fails, what are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times what we see from the seasons that you and I have watched is that the bad guys will just get stronger, whatever you want to call them, minions, monsters of the week. And so, yeah, I applaud Numeri for trying something different. I hope that maybe next episode Chongi Ray tries something different. Maybe he'll be serving food at a cafeteria that slowly drains people's motivation power, and it'll be hard to trace it back because it takes time for the food to digest, for example, or something.
Oh, okay. I like that. I will say I would have liked something at the end to indicate Numeri was at least a little successful.
Yeah.
Like, you know, maybe it did fill the fool's casket a little bit more. Maybe the butler was impressed with her ingenuity. Because at this point, I really feel as though if every week they suck up the goo and then the girls take the goo back, then nobody's moving any closer to anything. So I don't understand how, you know, in 10 episodes, we're going to get to the point where the witch is like, the casket is full. We did it. When? How? When did you fill that? The girls have been taking it back.
See, I don't think that they're going to do the casket is suddenly full when we didn't show it. I assume that we're going to find another like hidden treasure that has like just excess motivation power that the girls somehow lose. I think there's going to be a dramatic episode that ends with the Witch of Delays getting all of the remaining motivation power she needs, as opposed to taking a little bit each week. But yeah, it really makes the lieutenants or commanders, whatever they're called, seem really incompetent. And I liked this episode. It was cute, but it was cute as far as an episodic episode can be, and it would be great if we had just a little bit more character motivation.
Yes. You know what was good about this episode?
The dolphin writing?
Karun is back. My child is back. They've returned to us. No comment on where they were or what they were doing.
Yeah, so again, the animators just like decided that Karun wasn't adding anything to the last two episodes, so they were just chilling in the mermaid aquapod or something. But yeah, when Laura infiltrates the first tank, Karun pops out, and we got some good Karun faces. Hopefully one of them will make it into the thumbnail. Haven't quite made it yet, but...
Absolutely. I loved the scene where Karun and Laura were tickling Dr. Numeri because they didn't know that's what it was. They thought it was just like an oversized sea cucumber. Quick note about sea cucumbers. They might sound like a tasty vegetable, but they are not. Those are animals, and I don't recommend putting them on your salad.
All right. Fantastic. Absolutely.
That's been your marine life fact.
You know what? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you have any favorite scenes or quotes?
I had a ton of favorite scenes. So I did briefly allude to this a moment ago. At the end of the episode, when they team up with the dolphins, they actually ride the dolphins. And we got this great screen cap of, I think it was Songo looking like super angry, but Asuka and Laura look super blank faced. Like, I don't think that the animators like put any extra attention to detail on it, but it almost gives the impression of them being like, yeah, we're riding dolphins like they're skateboards or whatever, but that's just a Tuesday for me. It's so last year.
They're teenagers, so they're very rarely impressed by anything.
Absolutely. But the best one, you already kind of alluded to this. I mentioned it in the succinct summary. When they show up, Manatsu is like super, super excited to go to the petting zoo. This is like her dream come true. But Minori is like, I want to see the jellyfish. And everyone else is like, oh, okay. And it is very clear, even though she's not quite like raising her voice or anything, but like it's almost like she is just as excited for the jellyfish as Manatsu is for the dolphins. And then when they do finally go, because the line was too long at the dolphin exhibit, she is talking about like this species has only a little bit of toxins. This one has a little bit more. These ones sting very deadly and they are very dangerous. Do not touch them. And the other girls are like, is Minori going to kill someone with these jellyfish? Is she plotting a murder?
When she's staring up at the tanks as the girls are like leaning away from her and she's muttering, so much poison. So we've decided she is a poison type gym trainer.
Yes. Specifically, I think maybe Toxapex would be her style. But then there's also Jellysyn, which isn't poison, but would still appeal to her, of course.
What other favorite scenes or quotes did you have?
They are at the dugong exhibit. No, the manatee exhibit.
Same thing.
Oh, they are? Okay, perfect. I wasn't sure if it was like a crocodile alligator thing where they're similar and can be confused, but they're different animals. Anyways, Manatsu mentions that apparently the legends of mermaids came from manatees. And I believe the real world explanation is that the sailors would be dehydrated and kind of hallucinating. And also, since the ships were mostly men, they would be a little lonely looking for companionship. So I think their brain manufactured this like beautiful creature that, could give them companionship and that sort of thing.
Really quick, I was wrong. Manatees and dugongs are in the same family, and there's only 4 species in that family. There's the dugong, and then there's 3 species of manatee.
Okay, so it's like a tiger and a cheetah, very closely.
Or an alligator and a crocodile, like you said.
Right. But anyway, so in the, this is a kid show and they might not go into that. So Manatsu is like, yeah, they thought that manatees were mermaids. And all the girls turn to Laura and Laura goes, I look nothing like this manatee. We are nothing alike. And the manatee on the other side of the tank is like trying to be your friend, like pressing up against the glass. And she makes a grumpy face and Manatsu goes, actually, they might be more alike than you think.
Oh man, Laura is an eternal delight. And we've talked before about how Laura and Minori, oddly enough, ship pretty well together. I love that Minori is the one to say, it's because they're such beautiful and graceful swimmers.
Of course. That's basically all of the scenes for me personally. You liked the Karun bapping on Numeri's tail was just so adorable. This is why we have fairy mascots.
The way they hid behind Laura when Numeri was like, hey, what the heck? I've taken a nap. Karun Never change. Bless your heart.
Hmm.
But other than that, I wouldn't say I had too many other favorite scenes. This episode felt like another Tropical Rouge episode.
Yep.
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Absolutely. So I had one kind of deeper question that we could focus on a little bit longer. So Dr. Numeri is hiding basically at the bottom of this aquarium, and she has created a RNA doll that is hiding as the ball that the dolphins are doing tricks with, and the hoop, I think, was part of it as well. So basically, people would go see the dolphin show. They'd have their motivation energy sucked out a little bit, and then they would leave and go about their day. Now, I'm wondering, can the Tropical Club actually have their motivation power stolen if such a technique were used? If they were first in line, they went in, would it have drained from them? Or does being PreCure mean that their, like, super motivation power is awakened in their hearts?
No, I think that it would work on them because they've had their motivation power taken a couple of times now. So I think they would probably notice more so than the people around them that they were like tired, and that's weird. They should be excited after seeing the dolphins, and I think they'd be able to overcome it that way. But I do still think it would work.
Yeah, I think realistically, if they had an episode where one of the girls or the Tropical Club was tricked, you'd probably have one character who was absent who would then save them, or they would feel very unmotivated and all five of them would be like, I don't feel like doing anything, but then something super cool would happen and that would bring back the spark kind of a thing. But yeah, I would contend, I don't remember specifically, but I feel like the girls probably have only had their motivation power stolen before they transformed, which is the only reason why I'm wondering if they are now kind of protected. But who knows? Maybe there will be an episode where the Witch of Delays herself shows up and hits them with a demotivation beam and it actually works.
Maybe I'm misremembering, but didn't Cure Summer have her motivation power taken and devolve back into Manatsu in one episode?
Maybe. My memory isn't perfect, so you could be right. That sounds kind of familiar.
Fair enough. If it didn't happen, it will happen. I'm telling you, watch out for that episode. I can see the future.
The lead cures are always hit with some kind of like BS beam or something like that.
I'm from Earth, but not this Earth.
Absolutely. Would you like me to discuss Futari Wa or Akira next?
I was literally just about to ask
But
that.
ask first?
Let
I win.
Do you want to fight me?
Sure.
Hey, we closed our Patreon, but if you want to pay us money for us to fight each other on video, like, we'll open it back up for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Joel's very concerned. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to pay us to fight.
I choose Rock as my champion. I win. I'll just throw Rocket at you.
Bold of you to assume I won't fight my son. But no, what I was going to say was there's only one Futari Wa, but there's a couple of Kira, so let's get Futari Wa out of the way.
Absolutely. Your succinct summary, and this is kind of flippant, but new villain just dropped. Basically, at the final moment, right before his destruction, Jakku King sent some evil seeds to the Earth, which seem to be able to take people who have been living their lives for 20 plus years and turn them into monsters, and then erase time so that people don't remember that they ever existed? Anyways, so this new guy shows up. Apparently his name is like Jura, I think. Jura or Juna. But it wasn't revealed in this episode. They'll eventually give him a name a couple of episodes from now, I was reading on the wiki.
Oh, I thought he was dead at the end of the episode.
No, he ran away, remember? There was like a big flash, and then they were like, where'd he go?
Okay.
This guy is bad news. He absorbed a storm, which I assume was the dark energy, so then he got stronger. He is a very muscular dude, and they had a hard time beating him, but eventually they decided that, you know, their friendship was the ultimate power.
This was the David Bowie's Bulge episode.
It was, yes.
Do you want to describe that for our lovely listeners?
Not really. I don't know if he's wearing, I don't know if it's clothes or if he's like some kind of like alien man who doesn't have like the same kind of body parts as us, but the camera twice kind of like slowly does this zoom up thing, and it starts with the crotch. And this dude has some cheeks, and he's got a bulge on the front part of his body. So that's very exciting.
Sorry, something about the way you phrased it. Like, he has a bulge on the front part of his body, on his chest.
I don't want to talk about this, okay?
Fair.
No.
I'm sorry that I triggered dark David Bowie memories. I know that he haunts all of our dreams.
It's true. He and I had a fierce rivalry for many years. And then when I heard news of his passing, I thought maybe now the madness will end. But then his ghost showed up and he was like, round two, bitch.
This is not on topic, but one of my favorite Tumblr posts of all time is a woman talking about how when she was young, she watched Labyrinth and she had nightmares for months of just David Bowie's crotch chasing her. And then as an adult, when she came out as a lesbian, her mom screamed, "It's that David Bowie's fault."
Goodness. Yes, I was introduced to Labyrinth from a female friend in high school who delighted in the fact that throughout the movie, David Bowie's character is wearing shorter and tighter pants in each scene that he shows up in.
You know, I think that it's fair. You know, men had their time in the objectification spotlight, and now it's women's turn.
You know, absolutely.
Did you like the Futari Wa new villain? Are you on board?
Okay. I like the villain design, and he seems like a threat. He seems like just a big brawler guy, so he's like a stronger version of Geki Drago that we had earlier in the season. But I'm confused by his origin, because like I said, there was like this big storm that seemed to be like destroying everything, and then he absorbed it, and he had like weird like bulgy muscles. It's not like in Dragon Ball Z when they power up, their muscles get bigger. It was like there was like a goo inside of him that was like fluctuating around, and I was like, what is up with that? And again, there's a salary man. There's like a guy who works at a company who like never smiles, and he's staring at the TV and he starts hearing like a sound in his head or something. And then he jumps out the window and explodes into his new form. But then the camera goes back to the office and the window is closed and the newscast person is like 10 seconds before, and the people who are looking at a picture that included this guy, he's just not in there anymore. So I'm a little confused. Was this person created 20 plus years ago by Jaku King as his plan B in case of Jaku King death? Turn this dude into a weird storm-absorbing asshole.
It's it's the reality gem. It's Thanos. Don't worry about it.
Okay, absolutely. But no, I like the villain design. I like the fight. And we also got a bonding moment between Nagisa and Polen. And it seems that Polen and Meppel now have kind of a big brother, little brother kind of relationship where Polen will say something smart-assy, and then Meppel will get mad, and Polen will hide behind Nagisa, who is the team mom, I guess.
They have the same relationship as Nagisa and her little brother.
Oh yeah, I guess they do. Absolutely.
It's a cute bit of symmetry. I like that. At one point, Meppel is like, shouldn't you be at Mippel's house? Like, shouldn't you be at your own house? And Pauline's like, I wanted to hang out with Nagisa.
Excellent fairy pictures in this episode, including the all three of them back at the Garden of Light, which is kind of like a flashback we get at the very beginning. So I don't really have any other thoughts. Did you have any standout moments?
No, honestly, I remember very little of this episode.
There was a cat and a dog, if you'll recall, in the alleyway.
There was a cat.
There was a black cat who went up to Polen. So Polen kind of sort of like runs away from home. I guess it's because like he wanted to see the sights or something. I don't know why he wouldn't just ask to be shown around. And he ends up in an alleyway, and there's this cat who, compared to Polen, is a big freaking cat. And Polen has to run, and then he runs into a dog that loses its mind and scares the cat away. So yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, I would say that was a good moment. I really felt very strongly that the series should have ended on the last episode that we saw.
Yeah.
And so far, I am not compelled by the season 2 villain.
Second half villain.
Yeah.
Do you think that we are going to focus on this guy for the next however many episodes until they defeat him, and then the next one will show up? Or do you think we're going to get like an alternating cast the way that we do with Changyurei, Numeri, and Elda?
I'm thinking alternating, and at some point they'll fight all three at once, and they'll be like, no, and the guys will be like, grr, and then they'll all merge, and Jock King will be back.
Okay. It seems pretty common. I'm trying to cast my mind back to all the seasons that I've seen. It's hard to remember every single one right now, but obviously, one of them will probably be a woman, because it seems like every villain group has at least one. But like, I guess if this guy, Juna, I think his name is, if he's very physically imposing, and the woman's probably going to be like manipulative or spellcasty in some way, I guess the third one, my guess would be some kind of brainy child. Maybe it'll be Kyria. Maybe it'll be a creature who looks exactly like Kyria but is stronger and has no heart. And Honoka will have to try and.
How could you do that to Honoka?
I'm not saying I'm not saying it would be a good time. I'm just saying it would make sense because it feels like that story arc could be completed. It still has like an act 3 that we haven't seen yet.
Okay, fair enough. Are you ready to tell me about your Kira this week? You went Kira crazy.
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 Yes. So, I had a thought, actually. What is the fairy's name from PreCure a la mode?
Pecorin?
Pecorin? What about Pecorin Rollins? For those of you who have not read the series, there is a series by Lee Bardugo, which is also a Netflix series now, that has a crime boss known as Pekka Rollins, and he's a major antagonist of that series. Anyways, I watched 3 episodes of Kira this week, 30, 31, 32. The first 2 episodes, like I predicted, are an Akira and Ichika episode. Akira learns that it's possible to love both her sister and her school at the same time. Ichika has a reunion with her mom, and she's been repressing feelings this entire time. And of course, we'll go into more details about each of these. And then episode 32, let's do the time warp again.
I'm so glad that you made that reference because I kept wanting to make it during our Sly Cooper bonus episode, and I went, no, Joel will get angry at you.
I will not get angry just because you choose to enjoy films that I don't particularly like.
Good.
But anyways, yeah, no, they get their crystal animals and they go to the area where they got it from, which is later to reveal to be like the home base of the legendary PreCure. You're gonna have to remind me of her name. I want to say Anjay, but that's a different season.
Lumiere.
Okay. And while they're there, Bibury shows up and she's possessed with evil, which is how episode 31 ended, was a Noir being like, I'll give you ultimate darkness. Before they can actually fight, they get sent back in time where the PreCure meet Cure Lumiere and they have like a little chat with her and she tells them that they're awesome. And Bibury realizes that the reason she was abandoned as a child and left all alone, the loneliness that drove her to Noir, was caused by Noir, who had enveloped who enveloped the city in darkness and stole all of their Kira, causing Bibury's mom to not love her anymore and leave the child alone. So Bibury has a moment of like, oh God, am I the bad guy? And then they come back to the present, and she's like, I'm sorry, can you all forgive me? And they're like, yeah, absolutely, friendship will win the day. And then Il goes, no, just kidding, I'm full of the ultimate darkness now.
Bitch.
And
sorry, no cursing on the Cure.
I already cursed a couple of times. I think I've reached my limit, and so you still have a few more bitch tokens that you can turn in, as the case were.
They have Laura's face on them.
So Bibury is basically possessed by evil. She's trapped within the creature that they're fighting, and they're trying to fight it, but they can't beat it. But then they remember the wise words of Lumiere, and they summon their new final attack. Is it PreCure merry-go-round or round go or something?
It's a la mode animal go round.
Okay, yes. It's basically they summon their spirit animals, more or less, is what it feels like, and they do like a little carnival ring around the rosy thing around the enemy and then explode it. And it seems like Bibury is free from the grasp of the evil bad guy. Also, very sexy of the show to introduce shadow wolves in the flashback. Pay attention because that's going to be super important if you don't know where Kira goes next.
Can we just call out the misshapen bunny lump in the room? So we mentioned this on our previous Kira / Star Twinkle episode, but the animators really said, who the heck knows what a bunny looks like? I'm too lazy to learn, didn't they?
Yeah. The lion that is summoned by Gelato, the Pegasus summoned by CL, go through the entire list. All of them look fine, except for the bunny. If you look at a real life bunny, you can kind of tell like where the back leg is. It's much bigger, like the leg is bigger than the rest of the body. It has like the kind of torso, it has the front paws, it has the face. And if you were to draw it, you would have distinct circles or ovals for each of those parts. But whoever drew Ichika's rabbit just kind of drew like Just a lump, just like this weird mass, and then put bunny ears on it. And it's like, that's close enough. It looks weird.
I'm thinking that the bunny is gonna have to make it into the thumbnail.
Yeah.
It's such a bizarre looking creature. But CL's Pegasus is adorable.
Yes, absolutely. I didn't check this on like the wiki or anything like this, but I'm pretty sure to my ear, the animal sounds that each of their animals make is actually voiced by the same voice actor who plays the character. So I'm pretty sure that Gelato, for example, said like roar as the lion or whatever sound it made. And it was most evident with Yukari's yeah, when her cat showed up, and Macaron's one, which I guess is the Japanese woof.
Yeah.
So,
Did you say macarons woof?
I think it's a chocolate's woof, but maybe
I'm mishearing. Peek behind the curtains. I'm very tired and can't stop yawning, so it's possible my brain is just going to sleep.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe have some sugar, a little bit of Kira to kind of jolt your energy.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So tell me this. What did you think of Ichika getting her crystal animal? Because she's kind of like the ultimate as the leader of the team.
Right, yeah. As I mentioned last episode, it seems like when they have all of these individual trials, the main cure is always the one that has the hardest hurdle to overcome. I almost said Birtle. I combined burden and hurdle in my mind.
Oh, Birtle.
But it was a weird episode because Ichika's mom comes home unexpectedly, and there's a scene where Ichika's mom hugs her, and Ichika resists the urge to hug back. So I thought that Ichika was mad at her mom, but then the rest of the episode she's pretty happy. But then it turns out that the happiness is actually the hurdle she has to overcome. She's been forcing herself to smile this whole time, and so I get needing to be open and honest about your feelings. I get that sometimes you try to be strong by holding in your feelings, but you've got to let it out, Davy. But it was weird that at the very end of the episode, she sees the monster show up and she's like, Mom, I gotta go. I'm not going to see you to the airport. Because it feels like they should be growing closer rather than what feels a little bit more like I'm ignoring you. But I think I like it because I think it shows that Ichika is now confident enough in her love to kind of like allow her mom to go. Plus, these monsters are literally going to destroy the city. So, like, what you going to do about it? But it did feel a little tonally weird to me.
Yeah, I also thought that it was a weird episode. And I go into pretty great detail about my thoughts on it in our other episode, but it felt like it didn't feel satisfying. I thought Ichika's mom and her feelings around her mom were going to play a bigger role, especially since, this is the person who taught her how to bake. This is the person who taught her how to love baking. Ichika is trying her best to always have energy and do things with a smile. And her mom is gone at a very important time in her life as a young woman.
This is just completely off the dome. I did not prepare this at all before we sat down to record. But do you think an episode where Ichika's mom lost her motivation and Ichika had to help get it back would have been more thematically appropriate?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think maybe if Ichika's mom had also been faking her feelings of positivity even, and they had come together and realized loving another person sometimes means sharing the bad with them as well as the good.
Sure. Yeah, okay, yeah. I could absolutely see that. Overall, it was still a pretty good episode, I think. Out of the 5 of them, I still think that Himarine's episode is my favorite just because she had the best expressions when she was up on stage and, panicking about baking and stuff like that.
Again, she had a whole arc.
Mm-hmm.
Her and Yukari, I feel have very discrete and distinct character arcs, and I don't think the other girls get that as much.
I would agree. Akira's episode actually annoyed me the same way that Ichigo's episode bothers you. It was a good episode. I liked it. You had some good costumes. Akira's little sister is amazing. Is her name Suki? No.
It starts with an M.
Okay. But my point is, I liked the episode overall, but what Elysio does, he sets up this weird trial where basically Akira has to decide which is more important, her little sister or everyone else at the school. And he's like, you've got to choose. And if anyone has ever seen a movie where a villain tries to give a character one or two choices, the answer is always option C, why not both? But it felt kind of hollow. It felt like Akira's trial and tribulation was can she care? Yes, she can. But like, of course she can. They all can care, you know? I don't feel as though she was actually challenged. It was a cool scene, and I especially like the part Elysio eventually attacks her, and these unconscious people, they end up like subconsciously using their Kira to protect Akira. So I liked that a lot, but I have a problem with the simplistic nature of, oh, your power isn't good enough. Just do more power, you know?
Just do more power, yeah. Well, and I wasn't here when you watched this episode, and I think I would have to rewatch it to say anything substantial on it. But I will say there is an Akira episode coming later that I think is a more powerful Akira episode, and it seems like this could have been that.
Sure, yeah.
So we'll get there when we get there.
Also, Akira's little sister is definitely, in my headcanon, a PreCure when she grows up and she's the right age. Like, I don't know if evil keeps popping up in this town or what, but she has the right attitude for it, for sure.
Hey, you know, Nodoka was ill as a child.
That's true.
And this girl has a childhood illness, so samesies, they both have the reddish hair.
Okay, yeah, I could see it. I could see it.
Now, we did have a couple of brief tweets in a bottle from friend of the podcast, That One Welder Guy / James.
What a twist.
What a twist. Yes, nobody could have expected this. And he labeled them Tropica Thoughts, which I thought was really fun. But as long as a PreCure episode has enough comedy and good kickies, I don't mind the plot being a sidestep. How I've felt about this whole series so far. I know you're getting bored with nothing happening week after week, but I'm still having a good time.
Oh yeah, I think the fight was actually pretty good too, especially when they did their final attack and they all did the kicky against the ball guy's, face. If the show didn't have the humor that it had, it would be lower in my estimation. But the fact that it has some excellent characters, Songo's facial expressions in the background continue to delight. That helps keep it afloat. There we go. And that has been your final thought. Outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone, and don't forget to Tropica Shine. Today you'll be baking with me. Whip, step, jump, and crack that egg. Ha-ha! What a great episode of King of the What Now, your One Piece podcast that started from the very beginning and stars these two doofuses. If you want to follow us on social media, Twitter is the best place to do that. I am at KOTWN_pod.
And I am at Pirate Ghost Host.
Absolutely, yes. We share all sorts of thoughts on there, some related to the podcast, some related to other things. But you can also reach us through email at kingofthewhatpod@gmail.com, or you can also find us on Patreon. We would love some subscribers or supporters, whatever the technical term is. Patrons. So fancy and grown up. And you can find that at patreon.com/kingofthewhatpod. You can find all sorts of things like bonus episodes, and you get to see the full cold open candidates, not just the ones that make it into the episode. Maybe someday if I learn to draw, I'll put stuff up there. We're always looking for suggestions and feedback. And speaking of which,
please take a moment to rate and review our podcast wherever you get us from. So iTunes, Spotify, Scrivener, that's for writing. But wherever you listen to our podcast, take a moment to leave a review. It helps other people find us. We are so grateful to all of our listeners, and we couldn't do this without you.
Absolutely. Word of mouth is super powerful, so if you have a friend who likes One Piece and they haven't heard of us, just direct them to the latest episode. And if they hate us, they can tell us why. And if there's an actionable item, we'll try to please you. That's how this works. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.